Hi reception, welcome to today's literacy lesson. I hope you're really well. Now before we get started with the main lesson, I've got a bit of a question for you. In fact, I've got two questions for you and it's to do with the work you were doing with Miss Beard, all about questions, funnily enough. Now my first question to you is, can you think of any question words? What words come at the start of a question sentence? I'll give you one. What is a question word? Can you think of 2 or 3 more? Pause the video and tell your helper. Wow, lots of great examples there. I heard people saying where, when, how, do. There are lots of different words that can come at the start of a question sentence. Now here's my last question for you before we get started. And I need my friend here today. Here she is. Buck, 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 buck. It's Little Red Hen. She wonders if you could ask her a question. She's going to listen really carefully and so would I. So pause the video and when you're ready, unpause and tell Little Red Hen your question. Oh, well done everybody. Didn't they do well, Little Red Hen? Some great examples of questions then. Okay, let's get started with today's lesson. Now what are we doing today? Let's have a look. So today we are going to be describing a setting. And we're going to do so using our senses. Now, there are 2 words we need to look at before we get started to make sure we understand exactly what we're doing. So the first word is setting. Now, a setting is the place where something happens. So in a story, it's where the story takes place. Where does it happen? Now, where does the story take place in Little Red Hen? That's right, on a farm. So in that story, the setting is a farm. Now, why are settings important? Well, settings are really important because for lots of reasons, they help us to tell the story. When we know where something is happening, we can start to make predictions. We can start to imagine what sounds we might hear, smells, perhaps the kinds of things that would be there. And it helps to make the story even more detailed and help us to picture everything more clearly in our heads when we're listening. And then, like I say, we can start to add our own ideas. So when you find out where the story is, you might already start predicting what could happen there. So, for example, if there was a story taking place at a swimming pool, I bet you could start predicting that maybe there'll be lots of children playing games. There might be people with armbands. You might hear whistles from the lifeguards telling people not to be too silly by the water. So knowing the setting is really important. Now, we're going to be describing that setting using our senses. Now, we have 5 senses. Reception. I wonder if you can think back to the work we've done before on the senses and tell your helper what our 5 senses are. Pause the video and tell them. Oh, amazing. Should we have a little look? See if you've got them all. Here we go. Here's a picture showing what our 5 senses are. So when we experience the world, we are using our 5 senses all the time. We are using our eyes to look at things, using our ears to hear things. We are smelling things with our nose, and we're using our hands and our bodies to touch and feel things. And sometimes, but not all the time, we'll be tasting things too. I know I'm not eating anything right now, but when I'm eating my lunch, I'm definitely using my sense of taste. And when we're describing things, including places or settings, we need to think about these senses because that gives the person that's listening to our description a really whole picture of what that place is like so they can imagine it. So shall we have a go? Reception, I've got some photos of some farms that we're going to describe together. But first, I'm going to go. Now, we are going to be using, we can use all of our senses, but we're going to focus on 3 today. What we can see, what we can hear, and what we could smell in that setting. And there's some pictures there to remind us what we're doing. And I've got a little picture here of a farm, and this is where the goats live on a farm. And I've been looking really carefully because that's the first thing we need to do. We need to look at our setting. So let me have a really look at what's there. And then I'm going to start thinking about those 3 senses. So let me tell you some of my ideas. It's my turn to go now. What can I see? Let's have a look. I know. I can see some goats. Well, that's a bit boring, isn't it? I think I need some more information. I can see some, fluffy goats. Or could I add an even more detail? Any more information? I can see some black and white fluffy goats, and some white and orangey brown fluffy goats. That's a really detailed description of what I can see. Okay, what might I be able to hear if I was there? Let's try and imagine. I'm going to look around. Oh, I know. Can you see the trees in the background? Yeah, they're covered in leaves, aren't they? Now, I know that when I've been outside and the wind is blowing, you can hear the rustly noise of leaves being blown by the wind. So I can hear the leaves, but I need more detail than that. I know. I can hear leaves rustling in the wind. Or can I make that even better? Let me have a little think. I know. I can hear leaves. I can hear the swishing leaves rustling on the branches. Oh, I like that description. I hope that helps you imagine the sounds you could hear if you were there with the goats right now. Okay, so I've looked at what I can see. Let me just go through. I've looked at what I can hear. Now I need to think about smell. That can be a little bit hard, actually. Let me see. What could I smell? Let's have a look what's there. I don't know how goats smell. Maybe they're a bit smelly. I don't know. Maybe I can smell some smelly goats. Oh, I don't think so. Let me think of a better one. Oh, I've just looked on the floor. Can you see what's all over the floor by the goat's house? Yeah, it's lots of bark. It's a bit like the bark you find in playgrounds, or we used to have some on our trim trail outside. And I know that that's got quite a strong smell, actually. And it probably, if it's outside, it might be a bit wet and a bit soggy. So I think I'm going to say I can smell some wet, soggy bark, because that's what's on the floor. Wet, soggy bark. Oh gosh, that was really fun to describe. And I can think, do you know what? Lots of ideas are popping into my head of other things I could say. I could even say I can see some brave goats climbing high, because they'd have to be quite brave to climb up that high, wouldn't they? Because they could fall. Yeah, I'm getting a lot more ideas. Reception, I bet you've got some ideas. Do you want to pause the video and tell your helper something you might say about this picture before we go on to our next one? Wow, some great descriptions. Which sense or senses were you describing then? Tell your helper. Well done. Should we have a go at doing the next one together? Now I'm going to need you to help me for this one, okay? It's going to be lots of your turn now. Okay. Here's another picture of a farm. Or reception. What's that special word for where a story takes place? The setting. Well done. Fabulous. Can you remember how many senses we have? Show me when your hand. Are you ready? Show me. That's right, we have 5. And today we're looking at just those 3 at the moment, aren't we? But there are 5 altogether. Reception, you're thinking so hard today. Well done. I bet your helpers at home are feeling really proud of you. Okay, so we've got a new picture. It's still a farm, but it's a different part of the farm. Here we have where the cows live on the farm. And if we look around, it does look quite different. I can't see any bark on the floor. I can't see any climbing goats, that's for sure. I can't see any logs, but I can see some different things. Now, reception, I'm going to ask you to think now of a description for me. Are you ready? We're going to do it in stages because it's a lot to do in one go. We're going to think about our sense of sight, what we can see. I want you to look first of all at the barn. Now the barn is the building where the cows sleep. Okay, so have a good look at that barn for a second. And I want you to help me describe the barn and how it looks. So I can see a something barn. Okay, so I can see a barn. We need some more information. Will you help me fill that gap in? Okay, so I want you to look at how it looks. Is it an old or a new barn? And do you think it's made of metal, wood, or bricks? Tell your helper. Wow, that sounded great. Can I say that back to everybody? I can see a old, it definitely looks very old, it looks a bit broken in places. I can see an old wooden barn with old bricks. I can see an old wooden barn with bricks. Old bricks. Oh, I forgot that word, didn't I? Silly me. Oh, reception. That was a great sentence. Some of you had slightly different ones, but they were all brilliant. And they were thinking about how it looks and what you can see. It definitely looks a bit old, doesn't it? A bit damaged. Okay, will you help me with the next part? Thank you. Okay, now I want you to look at the cows. Can you see them? There's lots of different colours, aren't there? Do you know what? We're not going to think about how they look. We're going to think about this sense. What sense is this? Yeah, our sense of sound, what we can hear. I wonder if we were looking at the cows, I think they might go bah. No? Okay, do they go? No! Oh my gosh, hold on, maybe I'll get it right this time. Do they go moo? They do, don't they? They go moo. Okay, so I want you to look at the cows and I want you to tell me. If we say in this sentence, I can hear the cows mooing, would we say I can hear the cows mooing loudly or quietly? Talk to your helper. How would you finish that for me? You're right. Do you know what? They are big animals with big voices, and you can usually hear cows mooing from far away, can't you? So it would be a loud moo. So I can hear cows mooing loudly. We've done 2 of our senses. Which one's left? That's right, smell. Okay, let's have a little look. What would it smell? Oh, I know. Can you look at the food in the barn or on the floor? Can you see all the hay on the floor which the cows eat? You can. And that's probably where they mix all their food in as well, the cow feed. I wonder how it would smell. So I want to say I can smell the hay. Now, would it smell clean or would it smell dirty? So I can smell clean or dirty hay. Or, what do I know? Maybe fresh or smelly. Oh, do you know what? There's 4 words. Which words would you pick? Clean, fresh, dirty, or smelly? Would you put any of those together to smell the hay? Describe the smell of the hay. Pause the video and talk to your helper. Okay, can I hear your sentence? Whoa, some really different ones, and they were all brilliant. I heard someone say, I can smell the fresh, clean hay. And actually, some of it would have been quite fresh. But then I also heard some people say, I can smell the wet, dirty hay, because some of it's on the floor mixed in with the mud, isn't it? Oh, goodness me, Richard. I've got one more challenge for you, and I'm not going to help you now. I want you to pause the video, and I want you to look at the puddles now, the big, muddy puddles. And I want you, with your helper, to say or describe how the puddles look, how they might hear, and how they might smell. And then come back and share with me what you did. Are you ready? Pause the video and have that discussion. Whoa, reception, some fabulous ideas. Do you know what? I heard some people say, I can hear the squelchy, muddy puddles. I can smell the dirty, soggy puddles. I heard some people say, I can see slimy brown puddles, which look like they're fun to jump in, to be fair, but they probably are very dirty. Well done, Richard. Some great descriptions happening there. Now, before we move on to your independent activity, let's just remind ourselves what we're doing today. So today we are describing a setting. A setting is a place, and the place we're describing is a farm. We are going to think about our senses, but we're focusing mainly on what things look like, the sounds we might hear, and the smells, okay? And we're trying to make sure we add some detail. So we're not just saying, I can see a cow. We might say, I can see a big black and white cow, okay? And that will help you to create a lovely